Yeah, this camera. I think that the camera just suck on here. I'm about to buy like a little. What I'm gonna do, I'll just buy like a little webcam to get better. Lighting.
That'll work.
What time the guest coming on?
Coach Walker is coming on at 6:30. Ezra is supposed to come on at 7. He messaged me. He's like, "Hey, is there any way that we can push it to 8?" I'm like, "We're usually done by then."
Yeah, I gotta be to work at 4 in the morning. I'm not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we're usually done by then. So
I'm at 5. I can't do that, coach.
Yeah, I was already up last night, like stressing over my laptop because I fucking it crashed on me. So I didn't get to bed till like 12 o'clock last night. Man, it's like 3. So yeah.
Man, you sound like me this morning. Exactly.
But shit, I got this new laptop. I got it unloaded. Got all my music back on there, so I'm cool. I'm ready for Friday. Show wasn't trying to buy this fucking laptop.
Oh, that would.
I just need to take this out because nothing wrong with it. I think it's the charging port went out on it. So I just need a new port, but I just ain't got time to be trying to find a repairman and get it there, and y'all tell me I ain't get it back in time. And like,
yeah, no, fuck that. Okay. All right, let's get this shit started. In 5, 4, 3, 2. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is the All Pro JAFFOs, a Tornado Bros Productions podcast, where we bring you the highly elevated sports talk by the highly elevated sports fan. I am your loving and humble host, JP. Alongside me, as always, the best DJ on the entire planet, Mr. DJ Madsticks.
One down.
And the 6'10" beast from the southeast, who you cannot see, but you will probably hear, at least on YouTube, Mr. Country K.
Konnichiwa, people. But I got called bullshit on the intro. The only thing you loving, Josh, is to talk shit. I'm just going to say that.
I'm hurt, Kay. I'm hurt that you would say that. I mean, I'm not going to confirm nor deny.
That your answer was like that fucking meme of that lady when she was like, no. But then she was like, maybe.
So you might be right. Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the episode. We got a special one for you today at 6:30. It's currently 6:05 that we are recording this on Wednesday, the 26th. You'll probably be hearing it on the audio version on Spotify and anywhere else that you can get your podcast tomorrow morning. 6:30 today, though, we got Coach Lonnie Walker, the defensive coordinator from Mountain House High School. He is going to be on the podcast talking with us a little bit of ball, a little bit of his history and coaching and everything else like that, his playing days. And hopefully a little bit later on, too. It is also a school night, so Ezra might not be able to join us, but we will see what happens. Supposed to have Ezra Palmer. He was number 72 at the Bay Area Cali Classic for the Bay Area squad on that defense. He's supposed to join us at 7 o'clock. But until then, we've got quite a bit to talk about. And one thing that I really wanted to talk about that was pissing me off on the highest level at the hypocrisy of the entire thing. Barry Bonds was not let into the Baseball Hall of Fame by the writers. He came 66%, which fell short of the 75% mark. He is now shut out, at least in the writers' ballot of the Hall of Fame. First of all, travesty. You keep the man's records. You have everything else like that, and you don't let this guy was literally, and I'll say it. I don't care who disagrees with it or whatever. This is the greatest fucking baseball player that ever lived. All around, he's the greatest baseball player that ever lived. The best hitter, the best all-around player that ever lived. The only player with 500 home runs and 500 steals. Okay. You got to remember, before his quote unquote, and Max Kellerman, I heard him this morning, he brought it up actually perfectly. It wasn't until he was about 35, 36 to when he started quote unquote juicing. Before then, Pirates and first few years with the Giants, he had already had a Hall of Fame worthy career. He was already leading the league in steals. He was already hitting the shit out of the ball out of the park. You know, so the fact that basically from 35 on to when he retired at, I think, I want to say he was early 40s when he finally retired, but it was in 2005. The thing that pisses me off the most, people are scapegoating and using the whole steroid shit as their reasoning for him not being in the Hall of Fame. Bullshit. Don't ever let anybody tell you that that is the reason why it's happening, because it's a load of crap and it's not worthy of conversation. Okay. What's really going on is that he didn't have a great relationship with the media. That's really what it was. You know, he rude to him, didn't give him time, whatever the fuck it was. The media, petty as shit, couldn't get over the fact that they weren't given the attention. So all these writers and stuff like that use that as a way to not vote him in. They say it's because of the steroids, but they didn't start, first of all, testing for steroids until 2005. And the HGH that he was supposedly on at that time wasn't illegal. It wasn't on the banned substance list. So that means anybody at that time could have and probably was using that HGH. He had never been dinged for PEDs, ever. Never been suspended for PEDs, ever. Always came clean, acquitted in court. All of that. So to say that it was because it was because of steroids, even though there's no evidence that he did it illegally, is horseshit, because his history with the media is very well documented. Okay. Obviously it's well documented because it's still being used against it. The fact that Bud Selig, former commissioner, I believe it was from late 80s to about 2005, 2006, when he finally handed the reins over to Manfred. Bud Selig overlooked the entire steroid era and did nothing about it. The league was dying. It had just come out of a lockout a couple of years before. And what brought it back to life? The home run race between Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire.
Mm-hmm.
That brought baseball back to life. That brought eyes to the game of baseball. So if anything did come across Selig's desk about them taking steroids or HGH, whatever the fuck it was, he turned a blind eye. He let that happen because he knew the league was dying and he needed some sort of income to come into the league before it was officially dead. So he let the players basically do whatever it was that they wanted to do, as long as they weren't getting dinged for it or whatever the case may be. You know, so the fact that he's in the Hall of Fame, even though he let the entire era take place, you've got other guys. If you're looking at character issues, you got Ty Cobb, great baseball player, huge racist. He's in the Hall of Fame. You had another guy who played I forgot what his name was, played in the 1920s or whatever. He actively tried to prevent black players from getting into baseball. He's in the Hall of Fame. So don't give me this character bullshit, because the character, it's a lie. It's a fucking lie. It has everything to do with these same writers, by the way, are the same ones who gave him his record-holding 7 MVPs. He's good enough to be your MVP, but he can't get into the fucking Hall of Fame. You can kiss my ass. Kiss my fucking ass. Okay. It's bullshit. Clemens, great pit. I mean, I'm literally more pissed off of Bonds that Bonds isn't in, because literally Bonds, like I said, is the greatest overall baseball player that ever fucking laced up the pair of cleats on the baseball diamond. Bar none. Nobody was a better hitter than he was. Nobody was a better pure athlete than he was. And to think it wasn't until he was 36 from the time he got into the league when he was 20, 21 years old. So 16 years, 15, 16 years of his career. Nobody's paying attention to that. Nobody's paying attention to the numbers that he put up early on in his career. Why? Because he wowed you with the 73 home runs in the season. 700, was it 763 or 753 or whatever the final home run tally for him? You know, leads, the amount of records that this man has. 7 MVPs. Guess who the number 2 guy? Guess how many MVPs he has? 3. 3 MVPs for the second. Barry Bonds has 4 more MVPs than the next best guy. And we're talking history. We're talking back in the Babe Ruth days, you know, all that shit. We're talking the history. 7 MVPs. And you're going to tell me this man isn't worth Hall of Fame? I mean, first ballot? He should have been first ballot. I mean, for sure. Like, but for the writers to literally sit there and try and act like they're taking the moral high. Oh, it's for the integrity of the Hall of Fame. Fuck you. That's a load of shit and you know it. It's a crock of shit and you know it. I can't wait for some of these writers to finally, I'm sorry, I can't wait for some of the writers to finally fucking die off. All these old heads who think they're giving all the integrity and all that bullshit. They let Bud Selig do whatever it was that he wanted to with the league because it was generating money. He let the steroid era happen. He's in the Hall of Fame. Put Bonds in. Like that's just, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but for me, Barry Bonds was the reason why I even liked baseball when I was a kid. Even when I lived in Texas before I came here into California to really get to know who I knew who Barry Bonds was when he was with the Pirates. I had already heard his name from there. So when he got to San Francisco, Barry Bonds is the reason why Oracle Park is there. He is the reason why their stadium is where it is, or that they even had a new stadium outside of Candlestick. Barry Bonds is the reason for that. The splash hits, you know, all that other, that's all Barry Bonds. The effect that he had on this game, the effect that he had on the people of San Francisco, the Bay Area people who love Giants baseball or whatever it may have been. There is absolutely zero reason why Barry Bonds shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. And it's a joke. The Hall of Fame is a joke. The entire thing is, you want to talk about integrity and character and all that. If we're talking about character and integrity, probably half of the motherfuckers that are in the goddamn Hall of Fame shouldn't even be in there. You let this is no disrespect to David Ortiz. He got in first ballot. Congratulations to Big Papi. Do I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer at the DH position? Absolutely. Was he Barry Bonds? No. Did he get dinged for PEDs? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But he was nice to the media. That's the underlying difference from this whole thing. Like, whoever's watching, listening, whatever, don't let the steroid. That is not the reason why Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame. The main reason Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame is because the writers are a bunch of pussies. That's it. Period. Print out. That's it. There's no other reason besides they got their feelings hurt. He wasn't very nice to us. Get another fucking job. Cover somebody else. Not all of these athletes are going to love you guys. Matter of fact, most of them don't because they know the media is bullshit. That's what we're trying to fix here at the All Pro JAFFOs. It's just the amount of hypocrisy that's in the MLB Hall of Fame or in the MLB period. It's baffling to me. How do you guys feel? Like, do you got Matt Six? We got the Barry Bonds poster right there in your studio right there. How do you feel about all this?
That's some definitely some bullshit. He should have been in there. Like I grew up playing baseball, and then like I didn't really watch it on TV because I was just baseball was boring as fuck to watch on TV. So, but it wasn't until like the whole Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, and all them just start cracking them that made me start watching. I'm like, this dude out here smacking them out the whole goddamn park, like So, so yeah, he definitely should have been in there, and this is definitely some bullshit. But hey, what can you do? There you should,
boycott baseball.
Talk about it. Yeah, I don't really watch baseball anyway. So
until Barry Bonds is in the Baseball Hall of Fame, this show will not be covering baseball.
Yeah, I don't pay it to really pay.
This is the last coverage of baseball that we will have until Barry Bonds is in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And again, it could still happen because there's that the Players Committee, the Hall of Fame Players Committee. They have basically a final say after the 10-year point is up. I mean, it used to be 15, but I mean, they dropped it down to 10. But in December, I believe it is, I think it's called the Today's Game Committee. Generic, stupid name. But that committee, has put in players that haven't made the writers' opinion of a Hall of Fame and everything else like that. So do I think he's going to get in? Yes. But when I say we're boycotting, but we're not going to be covering baseball on the show until Barry Bonds gets it in, I mean Barry Bonds gets in on the writers' ballot, which obviously can't happen anymore. So, hey, fuck you, MLB. You just, screwed yourself out of a hole. And during a lockout, man, your writers got some balls, bro. Your writers really think that their shit don't stink and that the game of baseball isn't dying, right? You guys are basically on the same path as soccer in the US right now. Like it's nobody again, like you said, boring as fuck to watch the game of baseball on TV, let alone for 162 games. Just, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Baseball is only interesting in the playoffs, and even that's not as interesting anymore. Yeah, I think they probably should have kept steroids fucking in the game. It probably would have made it more interesting. It's ridiculous, man. It's just one of those things that just, again, I grew up watching Barry Bonds. I've seen him in person. I've seen his games. What that guy was able to do. Not just like a power standpoint, from the fact that just on contact, his ability to make contact, his slugging percentage, just his ability to make contact was better than everyone at any point in any time. I just don't understand how the greatest baseball player that ever lived is not in the Hall of Fame. The writers are they're so full of shit, dude. It's ridiculous. Kay, do you have anything on Barry Bonds? Or do you have anything on this situation, Kay?
No, I'll let the Giants fans go at it, man. That's not my battle.
Yankee. Well, I mean, shit, Clemens didn't get let in.
Fuck them. That motherfucker was cheating.
I mean,
Motherfucker was cheating. Fuck him.
Clemens did get dinged, actually, a few times.
Fuck him.
So
You know who didn't? You know who
thoughts?
didn't? Derek Jeter.
People were pissed that he didn't get unanimous. I can only imagine if Derek Jeter didn't make first ballot, how much, dude, New York City would have burnt to the fucking ground.
No, all of New York City would have burnt the rest of the country to the ground. I don't think you understand how many crazy motherfuckers is in New York. They give Florida a rap, but most of the crazy motherfuckers is in New York when they move to Florida.
No, I don't doubt that at all. I've seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I know.
I mean, that's a TV show.
I
just
know.
know some niggas from Brooklyn. It's crazy.
It's just wild, man. It's like it's just fuck them. That's just, it's bad for baseball. They're in a lockout currently. They might not even have a fucking season this year. Good riddance. Ain't nobody gonna watch anyway.
I forgot they was in the lockout.
Exactly. It's like nobody gives a shit anyway. They're really the only person that I know who gives a damn is my dad, and that's really about it. But even he thinks this is horse shit. So it's insane. It is what it is. But MLB, get your fucking shit together. Barry Bonds deserves to be in. # free Barry Bonds. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest on with us today. He's a Grambling State alumni. He is the defensive coordinator for Mountain House High School. Ladies and gentlemen of the JAFFO Army, please help us welcome Coach Lonnie Walker. What's up, Coach?
Not much. How's it going today?
Just not man. Before we start, real quick, what do you think about the Barry Bonds situation? You think he should have been in?
To be honest, I believe Barry Bonds should have been in. And this is the reason why. Because NBL didn't have rules against what he did. That's the only reason why I could say he should be in. Now, if they had rules and he broke their rules, I understand it. But hands down, no matter what PED he took, it's hard to hit that ball, Coach.
Right.
It's hard to hit 100-mile-an-hour fastball. It really is. And he did it better than anybody else. We just did a whole segment right now on that, man. Just like I personally, I think he's the greatest baseball player that ever lived. I mean, pure athleticism, what he did before even his so-called juicing time when he was 36, that was Hall of Fame worthy in itself. So that's just kind of, I said it was nothing to do with the steroids. It had everything to do with the writers, the panties in a bunch, and they didn't get along with him.
And that's what it is. That's what's gonna make them hard because of the writers, really. Yeah. And that's why T.O. had to sit a year before he got into the Hall of Fame.
Statistics wise,
you got to think about it. This is a guy that got top 5 numbers in every receiving, yards, receptions, touchdowns, and not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I mean, say what you want about T.O. The numbers don't lie.
The numbers don't lie. You cannot lie with numbers. That's my thing. But I'm not a baseball purist on Barry Bonds or purist of baseball. It's a sport that you love to play. It's difficult to watch unless it's playoffs.
Who is nowadays? I mean, it's a dying sport, and especially after something like this, in my opinion, it just there's no reason to be watching it or anything anymore.
Well, even before Barry Bonds, you got to give it to Charlie Hustle. He should be in the Hall of Fame. How do your all-time hits player do not make the Hall of Fame? I know what he did.
Gambled.
It was wrong. It was wrong, but they can't prove that he cheated as a player.
He was a player coach.
Well, that's a difference. Yeah.
See, he was a player coach, and he
was a player.
That was one of those. He didn't take PEDs or anything like that. No, but gambling on your team.
That's rough.
That's a no. That's a no.
That is
in any
no-no.
sport. In any sport, you get blackballed for that.
That's true. I understand that.
So I mean, I completely agree with you. I think Pete Rose is again one of those all-time great guys. It's just one mistake that he made that cost him. My dad seems to think they'll let him in. The committee will let him in when he dies. They don't want to give him, I guess, the satisfaction, which is in a way kind of petty and messed up. But
that's how it is.
It is what it is. But
you have
again,
to think about another thing too. You got to think about like how the writers do. Just think about with Kenny Stabler, Raiders quarterback. He didn't get into the Hall of Fame until he died. And that's tough. That was a tough for me, being from Alabama, being a University of Alabama fan growing up. It's like how Kenny Stabler don't make the Hall of Fame, but it's how you. But that goes to tell you a lesson on how you treat people.
Yeah. Some of these people that you're being an ass to and everything could hold the keys to your Hall of Fame future.
Or I'm glad you said ass. That mean I could say it.
Oh, yeah.
But what it say though? I forgot the old little saying. I don't know. I will let that one go.
But again, Coach, appreciate you for coming on with us and giving us some of your time. We got to talk a little bit. Jabbar, when I last talked to you, when we were over at the Bay Area Cali Classic, which we'll get into because that was an insane game.
Wow, I couldn't believe it.
But I mean, for an all-star game,
really,
not something I expected. But he said some. We just mentioned you're an alumni of Grambling State.
Correct.
He mentioned Doug Williams.
Yes.
What's the connection there?
Doug, okay, this is the connection. When I got recruited at Grambling State University, Eddie Robinson, the great legend, most wins. I still would consider him with the most wins in college football. D1 wise, D1, even though it's double A, but it's D1. I give him that credit. He and his staff recruited me, but because I ain't take care of my business in the classroom a little bit, I end up this old saying that people don't probably remember is I was a prop 48. That means I had to sit out a year. But the reason why I had to sit out a year, because I missed my ACT by 1 point. But my GPA was high. But it almost balanced out. So I got like 10 days to practice with Eddie Robinson. And I will remember that for the rest of my life. And one sad thing about that part is when picture day came, I went to my locker, and I'm still thinking I made that bubble, I made eligibility and whatever. I went to my locker, there was no jersey on picture day.
Oh no.
And I made the statement to myself, I'll never be ineligible again because of grades, and that never did happen. But that was Coach Eddie Robinson last year. Coming into that next year, the 98 season, Grambling State hired Coach Doug Williams. So Doug Williams was my my college coach, when I played and started the 10-day limit of practice. So that's how the Coach Williams connection. And it's just so funny about not funny but ironic with playing at Grambling. You come across a lot of people that went through that program and came through that program that's legends in their own right. And to get to meet them and have some of them come out to practice and go through drills and everything with you. Because when I played with when my first full year with Coach Williams, our defensive coordinator was Todd Bowles. That was the head coach of the New York Jets, and now the defensive coordinator of Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Hey, you can't see him on here right now, but big time Bucks fan.
Really?
Oh no,
He a little sad right now.
Yeah, he's a
I ain't
little upset
in
after
absence.
these last few weekends, but
Whoa, calm down,
Hey,
fellas.
Hey,
Calm down, fellas.
I would say this: if you're a Buck fan, you're loyal.
Oh, for
yes,
sure, Coach.
that's
I
one
was
thing
there-
we
I
cannot
was a
take
Buck
from him
fan
for sure.
Through to Josh Freeman, through to Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
When we had Chucky and we wasn't doing nothing, I'm telling you, all the way up to when I was a kid and Tony Dungy was there.
Man, I wish Tony Dungy could have got that championship at Tampa Bay. He built that. He
technically
built
did.
that team. He built that team. Now, not taking away nothing from the coach that succeeded him, but he built that team. But I'm glad that he did get a championship with Indianapolis.
With Indy. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, me too. He deserved it.
I mean, God, man. So Doug Williams, Todd Bowles. I mean, Grant. That's one thing that. It's something that I just. There are so many great players, coaches as well, that have come out of not just Grambling State but HBCUs everywhere.
Correct.
So now, obviously, there's kind of been a turning point in college football.
Yeah.
Jackson's with Jackson State,
with Coach Prime.
with Coach Prime out there.
Right.
As somebody who came from an HBCU, how does this getting the number one recruits in how does this make you feel?
Well, on both, it's great. I think one thing Coach Prime did, he didn't see no limitation itself. And I feel like he went out and recruited guys. And I think any college, that's all they have to do. Mm-hmm. And to me, and going to another topic, with this transfer portal now, a lot of high school kids go get left behind. And a lot of ways they got to play is through HBCUs and the lower levels. But now that gonna be slim. If you think about it, it's gonna be great for the program, but it's gonna be adverse effect for some of those French guys that maybe had no stars, come out like Tariq Hill, no stars, under the radar, and got an opportunity to play and show his worth. And one thing about the NFL, if you're good, they will find you. No matter where you at, they go find you.
That's very true. So
skip the excuses. I got hurt or my coaches didn't like. If you're good, they will find you. That way they get paid. A lot of people get paid a lot of big bucks just to find that diamond in the rough.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, we've had a couple of high schoolers and stuff like that, and even at the Bay Area Cali Classic, talking to a few of them. Just kind of reassuring them. I mean, when I was in high school, it was always the mindset of D1 or bust, and as most high school kids are, so just basically getting to let them know they're NFL players and Hall of Famers and legends that were no star, 1 star, 2 star,
or came from Division III or NIA, where they don't even give scholarships.
Exactly, like that. You got all these great. So don't really. I mean, I can't point out where it came from, but I don't know how that mindset really, because it wasn't really like that back in like the 70s and 80s. I mean, yeah, you had your top schools and stuff like that, but you had more players coming out of the smaller schools and everything like that. So how did it become D1 or bust? Like, I mean, in your opinion, from what you've seen, how do you think it's gotten to this point?
Well, D1 or bust, it is, to be honest, because when I came up, we didn't have a star system. You automated. If you was the big time elite, what they call blue chips, if you were that big time blue chip, you was U.S. Parade All-American or USA Today All-American. So coaches back in those days, I really say they had to do their due diligence and find the guys that fit their programs. And they leaned a lot on their alumnus that went through their schools to tell them about high school players. So I got this guy for you, coach. He'll be perfect. But not knocking anybody money. The recruiting sites and stuff are great. And most time they spot on with a lot of guys, you know what I'm saying, towards their athletic ability. And I think that's what changed is when they started giving out stars. I feel a lot of the lower levels stopped trying to recruit these guys because they feel like they didn't have a chance. Not saying that what happened, but that's just my opinion on that part. And that's one thing Coach Prime did. I would say he gonna knock on your door. So and a lot of times that's all it takes. Knock on the door. Now, one thing about these lower level programs and stuff, they can't compete with the facilities and stuff like
the
that.
Money and everything that comes.
And the
through,
money,
yeah.
you can't SEC, you can't compete with that money.
Yeah, that's big time money.
And that's why I grew up watching. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to compete. They can't hardly compete with themselves because you think about the SEC, other than Alabama, Georgia, LSU, if you maybe Auburn and
Florida,
nobody else won a national championship. No one else ever sniffed a national championship closer in this modern era. I would say from the 90s to now.
Oh,
one else, well, okay, you got Tennessee had a one-off in 98, but they didn't even Peyton Manning didn't win a national championship.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, when you talk about the SEC, you really only talk about, like you said, Bama, LSU, Georgia, Auburn, and Florida. Really,
that's about it.
That the rest of them, it's I keep forgetting almost every year that Vanderbilt is part of the SEC. It's
hey, you got to keep the academics up, coach. It look good.
The academics in the SEC is due to Vanderbilt.
And one thing, and not knocking Vanderbilt, but they have put some guys in the NFL, great guys in the NFL. I can't think of his name. It was a guy from my area that went to Vanderbilt and played with Jay Cutler. I'm sorry, I can't think of his name. Oh man. But came out of Birmingham, ended up going to Vanderbilt, playing about 4, 5, 6 years in the league, which that's a success if you can stay in the league 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. If you even make it to a camp, to me, get invited to a camp and get cut, that's a success.
You can let alone get through a rookie contract. My goodness,
tell me about it. Because that's a whole different speed. But it's amazing how things are going. And like I say, with that Grambling, we got Hugh Jackson as a head coach now.
Yep.
They went to the NFL ranks, and I'm seeing the same thing as Coach Williams brought to Grambling, but the difference is Coach Williams was an alumni. He was a G-man. And nothing wrong with Coach Hugh. He's a G-man now. But the excitement, the enthusiasm, the kids they get in, go make for some exciting football. And I think pretty soon you're going to see, especially in the SWAC, Southeastern Athletic Conference, that you're going to see some of the schools do something like Appalachian State did to Michigan a couple of years ago. Yeah. Especially with the recruits they get, so.
Well, I mean, because of that, especially with the recruits, I mean, we had talked about it on the show, the possibility.
Right.
Is it out of the realm now to think that a school like Grambling State or Jackson State or, another one of these HBCUs with the top recruits that they're getting, could it be possible for them to make the jump from being in D1 AA to either one of the Power 5 conferences or one of the more well-known
levels? Now, I remember a couple years ago when I was, it was a couple of schools talking about making that jump. I believe at one point in time, Alabama State was trying to make that jump. One thing about that, because you got to include Title IX into that. You got to have because once you bump up them scholarships from 63 to, I think, the D1 get 90 something, you got to add that all across the board. And that's a lot of money. And they're going to take a lot of alumni support, corporate support, and also building infrastructures and facilities. So it ideally, it could happen, but you got to have a lot of support to even play that type of football.
I mean, I do think that. I mean, is it out of the realm of possibility? No, I do think that especially with what, I mean, with social media and everything like that nowadays, Coach Prime is doing something with Jackson State that nobody thought that he was going to be able to do with the recruits that he's bringing in and everything else like that. I do think that his influence and I mean, could he be? He's probably putting some of his own millions from what he's made throughout his career into the program and stuff like that as well. You're so.
You know what? I'm going to ask you. I doubt that. I will say this. One thing Coach Prime is, he's a recruiter. He's a salesman. And if you look at their numbers for us bringing fans into the stadium, you think about the Celebrity Bowl, not the Celebration Bowl. It was the first bowl of the bowl season. It's still within the top 10 of all the bowls that it will play for us. People coming to the game. They had like 48,000 there. But you got other bowls, attendance. And that's amazing. And once you start getting corporate sponsors, especially if you get one of these big TV networks,
yeah, to really kind of invest in, and I do think they're on that path. I really do. And again, that's just going to open up the doors and opportunity, because at least with Jackson State, damn near every one of their games, it's like standing room only.
It's standing room only.
They can't fit the amount of people.
They cannot even fit no one in the stadium. And this is going to take just the magic that Coach Prime is. And even though he's arrived to Grambling State, I got to appreciate what he's doing. They even done scheduled a game in my hometown, which is Birmingham, Alabama, at Legion Field, which hold like 60-some thousand people. And for us HBCUs, we have a lot what you call classes. You hear about these Labor Day classes, all these classes that these Power Five gonna start like at the beginning of the year. HBCU's been doing that. It's like when I was at Grambling, I only played 3 home games a year. 3.
Out of how many games?
We played, included a championship game the 2 years I was there, out of 10, 11 games, 3 home games. I have played in Soldier Stadium. I have played in Qualcomm Park, went to Qualcomm, Alamo Dome. Actually, I played in the Astrodome, which was oh Lord. When you see the turf,
I can only imagine.
It's like this Astrodome turf. It's like this. I played on the old Astro turf, so
that's concrete,
I remember
Coach.
when this new field first came about. I really do. So I played on the old Astro turf when you could see the Astro turf this thin and look beside, there go concrete. So
that's toughness to say.
So that's one thing, Grambling, that help me go to Grambling. Plus my big brother, who said you need to leave Alabama just to learn life, because he was in the Navy. He got to saw parts of the world and made him well rounded. He said, man, leave Alabama, because I got entrenched to a point where Alabama State was recruiting me. And for some reason, that was the first school that I could say that said, I want you, Lonnie Walker. I want you. Sign right here. Come here. And believe it or not, out of all the recruiting trips, I took a recruiting trips to when Morris Brown was in school. Well, when they was funded, they still in school, I'm sorry. Forgive me, Morris Brown alumni. I know they're still in school, but they had accreditation issues later. But and they done got their accreditation back. Please support Morris Brown. But
please, he says.
Yeah. So I
Help
went
them.
on a trip to Morris Brown, Alabama State, Grambling State, and Ole Miss. And what so ironic about all of those, the most boring trip, really didn't care if I was there or not, was Grambling. And I signed with them.
I thought you were gonna say I thought you were gonna say, oh, the most boring one was actually Ole Miss, and even though that they were like, I thought you school that you signed with.
No, I can't go in details, but when I went to Morris Brown, from that recruit trip, I realized I couldn't go to Atlanta and get an education.
Yeah,
Fair.
Not at all.
Fair point.
Because it's like this. At that point, you got Morris Brown right there across the street. You got Clark, Atlanta. Down the street, you got Morehouse. You got Spelman.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Georgia Southern. I'm not Georgia Southern. Georgia State. Then you got Tech, and it's Atlanta. No, ain't no education going there.
Just party the whole time.
No, and I know Atlanta is the capital for Georgia, but it's also another type of capital of Georgia. It is too for gentleman clubs. And I know I couldn't go there. My mother would have been so mad at me.
This is not what I meant by experience life. Okay?
Yeah, not at all. Now I enjoyed myself. Now, no doubt, I enjoyed myself. It was Morris Brown was the funnest trip I went on. But look, I had the insight like fun is not good for what you want to do in life. Because I was that
you made the right
kid.
decision.
You're like this. I was that quiet kid. I kept to myself pretty much.
I'm sorry, Coach. Atlanta would have ate you up.
It will have. I ain't no doubt. Ain't no doubt. I don't even think I probably made it past the semester, to be honest.
So then you definitely made the better choice.
Yes, I did. I made the better and greater choice. Thank you, Grambling State University.
So after all of that, going to Grambling State, you're a defensive coordinator at Mountain House now, which is a relatively new school. Haven't been around for very long. Jabari, we've had him on the show. Great friend of mine. I've known him since high school and everything. How did you get to this point? Like what started you on the path from being a player to moving on to becoming a coach?
And that is a story. Once I got it's a lot. First of all, when I was at Grambling State my last year, not trying to get sad or nothing, I'm all right. But my mother passed like April or like in March. And this is before what we have in combines and stuff. Because one thing about, I would give Coach Williams this, and a lot more, but we had NFL scouts at our team. Little combine, I forgot what they call it, not senior day or whatever. We always had tons of scouts from more than just one college. We
equivalent, I guess, of a pro day.
Pro day, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We didn't have to go to, which Louisiana Tech was like 5 miles from us in the same county or parish. My bad. I'm in that's Louisiana Parish. But 5 miles apart. And we didn't have to go to the big school, so-called big school. They came to us. And we had all these opportunities. And what made me get into coaching and stuff like that was one thing about that part. When that happened, football stopped for me. Because my mom was, at that time, my mother was my focus. That was my main reason for playing football. Because, you know, the same story everybody got. I want to give my mom a house. I want to retire my mom and do all of that. My mom passed and it left. So one thing I try to always tell young men, especially guys that play for me or anybody, believe it or not, you got to be safe. You got to have that focus on yourself. Ain't nothing wrong with trying to achieve stuff for your family. But if that's your main, not saying if that's your main focus, if something happened to that focus, you'll lose your focus. So once I graduated with a degree in criminal justice, I got into the workforce. I'm like, you know what? Because I could have came back and grad assist, be a grad assistant coach. Coaches wanted me to come there, but I didn't want to have to lean on my other family to help support me. I got a degree. It's time to go out in the world, because you taught that once you got a degree, that's your magic ticket. You can get a job anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And believe it or not, stuff worked out for me like that. It don't work out for everybody. Most people who get a degrry probably is not even in the field that they got their degree. You know,
nowadays.
Especially nowadays. And fortunately,
Same here.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? But you enjoy what you do, and that's all that matters. What you enjoy, what you do. You know what I'm saying? So I end up working in corporate America, doing corporate security in Alabama for about, when I got out of school, for about 14 years. And I met my wife at Grambling. And she was actually from this area in Tracy, California. So she moved back. We moved back, got a daughter, and then all of a sudden, around about 2016, 17, she's like, I want to go back to California. I'm like, what? California?
Do you know how expensive it is in California?
California, yeah, for real. You know, everybody moving from California. Why would
you know the taxes? My God.
You know, but I had to give it to her. She was a trooper. She lived in Alabama for almost 17 years. And I was like, and you know, and being in the South, you grow up like, once you get with a good company, you stay with that good company. You retire from that good company. All of a sudden, the good company that I work for, I went from being able to retire at 50 to 55 to 62.
It just kept getting progressive.
Yeah. And by the time I was 62, I probably would have had 37 years of service. I'm like, oh, you know, and one thing about, I always stayed connected with football, because a lot of guys that I played football with at Grambling and even high school became high school coaches, college coaches. So we always talk back and forth about the game. One thing I would give Coach Williams and his staff there, he taught us to be students of the game. Even Coach Bowles, students of the game. I remember as a freshman going to Coach Bowles' office, just watching film. Me and my roommate just watching breakdown film with him. I'm a defensive lineman. He was a linebacker. We sitting here watching him break down film. So, you know, watching film and stuff like that, and getting into techniques. And I got to give a shout out to also my defensive line coach, Coach Chris Scott, because he showed me when somebody believes in you, what can you do when somebody believes in you? You can believe in yourself. Ain't nothing wrong with please believe in yourself. You got to believe in yourself first. But when somebody else give you that extra added push, it could take you over the moon. And then when we moved back here, I came back here like, I'm gonna get into football. And believe it or not, I started at a little league. And it was a family friend, and he named LeConte Vaughn. And in this area, he's the big football guy. And I was like, man, I can help coach, no problem. He called me last minute. I didn't coach until like the fourth game of the season, because he called me last minute, and getting all the paperwork and all that stuff done. And coached there a couple of years and got a little buzz. And all of a sudden I get a call from somebody named Jabari Carr. I'm like, who is Jabari Carr? Hey, I'm a JV coach. I heard you coach offensive defensive line. And we was on JV. Then I said, yeah, man, I'm ready. Then the doors opened. He became the head varsity coach. And when he got promoted, he promoted me to defensive coordinator. And it's been rocking ever since. So, you know, I will say it's never too late to get into your passion, because in my wildest dreams, I would have never thought that I would have been back in football like I am now. Really. And this has been 4 years strong now. And I still enjoy learning about it, seeing new things. And it's like it's really a rebirth of myself to get into your passion. And you know, even though I was working, I was satisfied in the job I had. I'll make a whole lot more money if everything ain't about money, but I'll make a whole lot more money in Alabama than I did in California.
So sad truth, but it's the truth.
So you know what I'm saying, it was a little rough, but you know everything worked out, and you know I'm still pushing. You know, I don't know where this football go eventually take me. I'm happy in the position I'm in, but you know, you never know where it's gonna take it, and I'm enjoying the ride, and that's what it is, enjoying the ride. You know, cause it's just like even with what I tell my high school players, man, everybody ain't able to play college ball. It's hard to play college ball.
Yeah,
You know, and
less than 2% make the pros and stuff too. So
and the pros that even slim. You know what I'm saying? And with high school, I never thought, you know, in my mind, football came to me because I didn't know I was good at football because I want to be a basketball player. I'm a 6'4" center. I thought in high school, I thought I was gonna be the next Magic Johnson center. I'm passing the ball behind my back and everything. You know what I'm saying? That was my goal. Then came by 11th to 12th grade year. I started getting a couple of offers in football. And the only offer I got from basketball was a JUCO. I was like, JUCO basketball or football? Oh, I think I'll go to football. So
good choice.
It grew on me. It became a passion. And I'm, even though I dipped off for a couple of years, about 14, 15 years from actually being into it, man, now it's all full speed ahead. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, again, just the time. I mean, that doesn't always happen for everybody. You know,
no,
take
it
some
don't.
time off, and it just kind of goes away and stuff like that with you. But just for it to kind of come back and come full circle, and then you be able to help out the kids and do everything else like that. That's a hell of a story, and just glad, honestly, that you're. I mean, we're happy for everybody that we bring on the position that they're in, because it's not an easy road at any level. You know, whether it's high school, college, professional, it's not an easy road. You know, so for our guests or whoever it is that we bring on, for them to be in the position they're at, it takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of, you know, you're going to go through bad situations,
right?
You know, you be able to lift yourself up. You know, the company around you. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Like that extra push really does, you know, help out.
Help. It does.
You know, so incredible. I honestly, Coach, I really do hope that, and not even hope, I know good things are coming your way. That's just something that we pretty much, I'm sure the guys here can agree with me, that nothing but positive things and good things coming your way. I know Jabari, when we've talked to him, he's had nothing but fantastic things to say about you. Was pushing us to get you on the show, and I was like, okay, but I can't find. We finally figured out that you have an Instagram. I'm like, okay, now I can get a hold of him. Like,
hey, I'm gonna tell you what's funny, because I'm older than Jabari, and he's my head coach, and I love it. His enthusiasm, the way he is. I wish I could be like Jabari. I wish I could talk to people. I'm the quiet person. I'll talk if you talk to me, because I could think about when we first met. You're like, Jabari, like this guy, and you're like, Then all of a sudden I got the joke, and then your eyes lit up. So it's like, I don't talk, but when I feel comfortable, I do. And one thing I would give to myself, that I was fortunate and lucky, I've been around great coaches. I could go back from high school. My head high school coach, Tyrone King, played for Bear Bryant. Won 2. Wow. I saw my first SEC championship ring, and that championship ring on his hand. He played in 78, 79, the last 2 national championships for Bear Bryant. My defensive coordinator played at Grambling. And it was so funny about that, because he always told me, Lonnie, you could go to Grambling if you want to. I know somebody, you go to Grambling. I'm like, Coach, man, I told him like this: if I like it, I'll go. And that was simple, because he knew I had choices. But I said, if I like it, I'll go. And believe it or not, what nothing I liked about it, going to that recruit trip.
I was just about to say, from you saying it was boring and everything, I'm like, well, you went against what you said on that one for sure.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, bored, after going to Morris Brown and seeing boring, Boarding was the perfect place for me. But even that recruiting trip, it was so impersonal. To believe it or not, we had a recruiting trip like over 40 guys on our recruiting trip. We bring 40 guys. And believe it or not, most guys that signed in my freshman class was on that last recruiting trip. And that was weird. Most of the guys that was on that recruiting class signed that Grambling. And I don't know if they did that by bringing all the good guys, they think good guys or whatever. It just somehow happened that we all had a bond and we stuck together, ran through. And like I say, even at Grambling, being at that school there, introduced, and like I say, we all played for 3 home games, introduced someone. I got to see my legend. Got one funny story for that one is Reggie White came to one of our games.
Oh, man.
And my Reggie White, I'm defense end. Reggie White and Bruce Smith, you couldn't tell me nobody, and John Brown, you couldn't tell me no defense lineman better than them for me watching. And he came, and right before the game, we were about to play Prairie View. And this at the time, if you know about Prairie View went on to like the 80-game losing streak. So this is my senior year. So I pull out the old Polaroid. I'm saying like, this is my senior year. I'm taking pictures. I'm going to be sentimental this year, right? So I always get me a little disposable camera. And this one, last time I would get one with a flash. This time I had one of the trainers go get me one. They had one without the flash. This before the game. Reggie White and I said, man, I got to take a picture. I got him and Doug on by my side, players all around me. We taking a picture, can't see nothing but just people in the shadows. And that hurt my heart, but I know I got that picture. I do got that picture. You can't see nobody. But I had one of my assistant coaches. He was like, Lonnie, he said, Walker, how you gonna be taking pictures before the game? Like, man, it's Prairie View.
Right.
It's Prairie View and it's Reggie White. Okay.
Right.
I am gonna take this picture.
I'm gonna take this picture. I don't care. You can do whatever you want. This is my last year, man. I ain't coming back.
I don't know when the next time I'm gonna see Reggie White again. I'm gonna take full advantage of this.
And man, his hand. Now I'm 6'4". At that time, I was 6'4", 255 pounds. Man, but Reggie White hands, golly, was so
He
huge.
used to throw that club too. I can only imagine.
Oh man, oh Lord. How strong you got to be to take your hand and rock somebody with one arm?
On a consistent basis.
To me, that's equivalent to the Kareem hook shot. You can't stop it.
Yeah,
and
nothing
you
anybody
can't
can
do
do
it either. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You can't duplicate it. You can only be in awe of what you're seeing. It's just,
you know, and
insane.
even another thing, you know, one of my first defensive line coach, Ernest Sturgard, rest his soul, he brought out and I know the young guy wouldn't know, but this gentleman was a Grambling legend and WWE Hall of Famer, Ernie Ladd. He brought Coach.
I know
Ernie.
who that is. I don't know about these guys. I know who that.
That's what I'm saying. He brought out Coach Ladd to practice, and we had this 7-man sled. And back in the day, it was all metal. It ain't that little push stuff and that fluff stuff. And it had the iron little wheel rollers on there, and one side didn't move. Everybody on the team know that one side didn't move. So you had to push real hard. And on the way you get on the good side, you had to be an upperclassman. But the killing part about it, if that sled turned, you had to straighten it up. Oh my. Ernie Ladd worked us out there so bad. Man. I knew I would never quit Grambling. If it had to be a day that I want to say, man, y'all can have this. It was that day though. 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 And another quick story too. Coach Eddie Robinson, the great Coach Eddie Robinson. And it was his last year. And the 10 days that I practiced, he on the 2-man sled himself. having the wide receiver hit the sled. And you wonder why them guys from top, they hitting the sled with him on there. I'm like, I'm looking at this.
It's a
I'm
different
shocked.
breed.
I'm shocked. I'm like, you know, Coach Rob was in his 70s then, and now he's larger than life. When you see him, it's I can only imagine. It's like seeing Michael Jordan or somebody like that in more terms. Like, he real. He talking to those. He know my name. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that right there was so much art. And Coach Rob was always great with my family. And like I said, I don't practice but 10 days with him. When my brother and my mom used to come up to Grambling and he see him, hey, Miss Walker. Hey, Lonnie, brother. You know what I'm saying? He was so sharp. It was amazing. It really was amazing. But man,
Incredible.
they work. They work. They work. These guys don't
Can't
know
do
how
that
to
nowadays.
The equipment make it easy for them. Though. We had that stuff like, you know, we had knowledge in our weight room. And I don't know if people know what knowledge is, but knowledge was just change on the machine and some weight. And that stuff, oh Lord. I don't But those days, I would say I wouldn't change nothing. And like I say, man, being at Grambling is a unique opportunity to see, because you have to think about it, I was from Alabama, never flew on a plane. My first time flying on a plane was when I went to Grambling. My first time. And I got to see New York, California, Chicago, Cincinnati, you know, and it was so much fun. And that I learned what a concierge was in the hotel. I ain't know what a concierge. That was my first time. My recruit trip was my first time staying in the hotel. and I ain't know what a concierge was. We sitting around the hotel. I said, yeah, we want to go to the store. The guy said, we'll take you to the store. I said, what? We the concierge. I'm like, really? Man, we went to when we played in Chicago. Me and my roommate rolled around all Chicago by ourselves with the concierge.
Not on the town.
I know now to tip the concierge, but I ain't know then. I ain't have no money to tip anyway. But
you got a free ride from the concierge.
I think he just wanted to get away. You know what I'm saying? But man, hey, going around Chicago and like I say, being young then. Because the first thing about Chicago, when we came, I saw the fountain to, you see the, you remember, what's the name of that show? Married with Children. When they come on, we saw that. I'm like, and I'm a big Al Bundy fan, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh man, that's the fountain from. I'm like, man, hey man, wow. It was amazing, man. You just didn't know. I didn't know that was all this story. And it was great and wonderful. And one thing I'm trying to do now is pass on to the guys and girls that I coach. Because you know, pass on, man, focus, work hard at what you want. Nothing wrong with putting focus, achieving the goal for others, but make sure you're a part of that goal that you want to achieve. You can't do it just for others. You got to do it for yourself because you don't want to lose that focus. And that's my personal experience. So, you know, I love what I do. Cause like tonight, I just got out of basketball practice. I coach freshman girls basketball, and that's so fun. Oh Lord, that's so fun, man. If they ever had to have
the next time we have a conversation with you, we got to talk about that too.
Oh, that's scary. That's so good. The girls are, man. I love them all, but they keep me smiling. They really do. They keep me smiling. Like, I don't know how much we pick up a basketball in practice, but
well, Coach, again, we can't thank you enough for your time. I can literally sit here and listen to stories all day. I would love to be able to do that, but
yeah,
we got to keep it. We got to.
I don't talk, but I will talk.
we definitely need to have you on again to talk more and get some more stories, get some more things that have just. It just seems like we can just write a book, just a bunch of just stuff that we can put down and be able to share with our listeners and viewers and everything like that. Again, appreciate the hell out of you for coming over here and giving us some of your time. And we definitely cannot wait to be able to talk to you again. And I hope everything in Mountain House there with Jabari and again for yourself, everything goes well. You guys are building something pretty amazing down there in Mountain House. It's we last time we talked to Jabari, the goal is to turn Mountain House to a powerhouse. So
yes, that's just the goal. That's the
definitely
goal.
can see that happening in the near future. And again, thank you, Coach, for hanging out with us and sharing your stories and your time. Ladies and gentlemen of the Jaffo Army, please give a round of applause and a big thank you to Coach Lonnie Walker. Appreciate you, Coach.
All right,
We'll talk to
thank
you
y'all
again
one
soon
more
for
thing.
sure.
Thank y'all. Anytime you need me, just anytime you want me to talk, I'll talk now.
It's the Jaffo family, Coach. You're
just let
always
me
welcome.
know. Just let me know, and I'm just glad we ain't too censored.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh no. You say whatever you want here, Coach. You say whatever you want.
I
mean, it's only limited to what you feel you're limited to. That's it.
Oh, that's scary. That's scary for me.
It is, but it
I
can
might
turn
have to
for a
have
lot
the
of good
wife
stories,
beside me
though.
I might have to have the wife beside me just to kick me to say, shut up. All right. Thank y'all.
Man.
Appreciate y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Just a lot.
Appreciate
I
you,
know
Coach.
y'all
We'll talk to you again.
understand me, and much success to you all and what y'all
Thank you.
do. And I know y'all grind to keep grinding and believe in what you do, what y'all doing, man. I love it.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Coach. Jaffo
Thank you.
Army, Lonnie
All
Walker.
right.
Appreciate it, Coach. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, gentlemen. Take it easy.
All right.
All right. Peace.
Man. Man. There's so much to break down, but Ezra's been waiting for like 13 minutes now. Oh, let's get him in here after that great conversation. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, number 72 for the Bay Area team. He might have passed out because he was waiting so long. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Bay Area Cali Classic All-Star number 72 on the Bay Area defensive squad, Mr. Ezra Palmer. What's up, Ezra?
What's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, sorry to keep you waiting, but we got you on now. We got to talk about it, man. How the hell was the experience at the Bay Area Cali Classic? Because we were there to watch it, and the game itself was insane from the outside point of view. You being on the field, we heard your name a few times, during that game. What was the atmosphere like in that game?
It was real competitive, We, you know what I'm saying, a lot of anxiousness and people nervous, people not, more of like it was always like a realization of like, man, we got a second chance. And it's just like everything was going quick that day. That day went by quick, I should say. We got there early. Yeah, it was a good competitive game. I had a lot of fun. Had to switch my number up. I was 72. I switched it to 90 because you know what I'm saying. I was wanting to feel more.
Did you switch it mid game?
No, I switched it before.
Oh, okay. Because I was looking at it going like, oh yeah, it shows him 72, but
yep.
I think okay, that makes sense now. Now it makes sense.
I didn't get to pick my number, and me and my friend who also was in there decided to switch numbers about a couple hours before the game. But
good thing y'all were about the same size then, huh?
Yep.
So we got to talk about the high school career so far. Throughout your high school career, playing football, or when did you start? Did you start playing since you were a kid? You into high school already playing, or how did that? Where did you get your start up at?
Yeah, started when I was about 6. So I've been playing since 6, so about 12 years or 13 years now. Just like always wanted to play football. Went to Monroe because of football. Could have went anywhere else. To be honest, I could have went anywhere else local. But my parents wanted to put me in a good position to play, to be in also a school where I'm getting educated well, like a high education, and also playing a high level football, high school. And at the time when I came in, my freshman year, we were I think we were a D2 football team. You know what I'm saying, going to NTS championships and stuff like that, playoffs and stuff like that when I was freshman. And I started to understand and started to get, you know what I'm saying, meet my coaches and stuff like that. So like I've been playing my whole life, but my high school years is when I started to really like understand football, like fundamentals, study, film, all the things, like when it really started clicking for me.
When did you first, and this is always an interesting question of mine because it was different when I was in high school and things obviously, have changed since then. When did you first get told, hey, you're already getting looked at? Not so much as, hey, you're getting, schools looking at you or whatever, but when did you already have the realization of everything that I do is being watched by coaches somewhere else? Did you ever have that sense of, or was it kind of like your freshman, sophomore year is like, whatever, and then junior, senior year, that's when you really kind of picked it up?
Well, I came to high school with the knowledge of like big goals. You know what I'm saying? We trying to get colleges to look at me. Dad taught me like, you're trying to get this stuff. You have to be able to control yourself. You have to be able to control your emotions. Be disciplined on the football field. So like coming on to freshman year, I was just having fun freshman year. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really focused on college or anybody looking at me. I was just playing the way I played when I was in youth football. And then once I was a starter as a sophomore on varsity, is when I started to understand, okay, we're on varsity now. My seniors are getting looked at, which means I'm getting looked at the same time. So I have to perform at a high level, which I did my sophomore year. And I'm sure it would have went way better if I had a full junior season. But yeah, so I think
COVID kind of derailed that
Yeah,
for a lot of kids.
that was a super unfortunate time. Like I would have had a lot more opportunities, but we try to make the best of it. But yeah, I think my sophomore year is when I really like started to understand, like, okay, this is when we need to take it serious. Like this is rather something that can get you somewhere far, or you can mess it all up by doing some dumb stuff. Or like if you don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like I was just thinking and managing it and making sure that I was doing what I had to do to be where I want to be.
Well, at least you had that motivation and that self-control. That's really tough, especially like honestly, kids your age and everything else like that. It's tough. There's a lot of things getting thrown at you guys.
Yeah.
Especially your junior, senior year, a lot of outside distractions. There's so much stuff that happens. So to actually have that discipline to be able to maintain focus and on the right path, that's a hell of a quality to have. So since the Bay Area Cali Classic, we've visually seen not we've been keeping in touch with you and everything like that, but we've visually seen there's more offers being thrown because of this game. There's more offers and stuff like that kind of being thrown out. Where are you at? Where is your recruiting process right now? Are you waiting on somebody? Have you not checked an email? We had another kid who said, oh yeah, I got emails, but have you been opening all of the emails that you've been getting from these colleges? Where are you at in the recruiting process right now?
Definitely been looking at everything, looking at my text messages, Twitter, emails, talking to a couple colleges. There's San Jose State's coming to my college on Friday to talk to me and Amari Edmondson, who played in the All-Star game. A Sacramento.
If it's Coach Zoe, tell him I said what's up.
Yes, sir. I will. And Sacramento just came last Friday to talk to us. So I got a bunch of JC football teams, local. San Francisco, I just won a national championship. Coaches talking to me, a bunch of other Chabot, San Mateo, all the Foothill, all these different JCs. A lot of local colleges. But right now, as of now, just the major ones is San Jose State and Sacramento as of now. But you know what I'm saying? It's still going. I'm just trying to put stuff out there. I still have to get more film of the game and a couple more other things I've been doing outside of, you know what I'm saying, of that game. like working out.
Yeah, I mean, don't feel like, oh, I need to, take the, enjoy the process, take the time, do everything it is that you need to do. Obviously, I mean, you've been doing that, so keep on that right path.
Yep.
And dude, like I said, we saw the game, and it was one thing that we immediately noticed. Like me and Mad Six here, we immediately noticed because your name got called one play, then the very next play, Ezra Palmer. Very next play, Ezra Palmer. A couple of plays after that, Ezra Palmer. I'm like, this kid's fucking everywhere. Like, what do we like? Hold on, how is this? And that's one thing that we really noticed that we really appreciate about the Bay Area Cali Classic is it gave you guys a platform to further make your case to all these schools. And it definitely showed in the competitiveness. I mean, you say on the field that it was competitive. And for us, that rings so weird because nobody thinks of an all-star game and thinks competitive in the same sentence. So what you guys actually did, like as a whole, like as a unit with the Barrier squad, I mean, how the hell within a couple of weeks, the camaraderie that you guys had already was just that I'm like, in a week and a half, 2 weeks of, I don't know how many days out of the week that you guys practiced, but from all that you guys already had, it seemed like you were gelled as if you guys can play a whole season together and you guys would be fine. Same with the Valley squad. Like all of you guys, I mean, I guess give credit to the coaches for bringing you guys together, or maybe just credit on you guys for being able to realize the situation that you guys were in. But during the practices and stuff, what was the talk? What was what was the conversations that were going on? Were everyone talking about, oh, we can get college here? Or was it just, practicing with the boys? Like what was the feel in an all-star practice?
Man, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like my neighbor, I don't know who that is, you know what I'm saying? It was a kind of awkwardness that, I mean, it kind of was like easing into it, you know what I'm saying? Like meeting people and saying what stuff, but like, this is a Bay Area team, so we already have met each other, rather we played each other or we seen or went to a game and watched this team and, you know what I'm saying, know these people. So I had people from Castro Valley, Ensign on my team, from Mac, all these people that I played against and seen play that know me and I know them because, we're the best players on our team. And once you, and like in the Bay Area, you know who the best players on the team are. Like once you go to each games and like you play against them, like you get into those players start to connect. So like we already had a connection. Like I knew some of the players already, some of them knew me. So it was like a quick, like we already had chemistry like that. You know what I'm saying? We already knew what each other were capable of. And then, like I said, it's competitiveness. So our practices was, we trying to kill Valley. Like this ain't an all-star game. This ain't a showcase. We're trying to kill Valley. We're not worried about none of that. It felt like if the practices did feel like it was my team. Because we weren't practicing like it was an all-star game. We were practicing like we were trying to kill our opponents. And you know what I'm saying? I don't think none of us took it as it's a showcase. It's an all-star game. Like, let's not, you know what I'm saying? No, we was going practices. We was hitting. Game, we did the same thing. We was hitting. We was getting there. We was 110%. We was doing everything fast. We really like our competitiveness was really high, and we had good chemistry too. And you know what I'm saying, the coaches already knew us too, individually. So it wasn't anything awkward, and they knew what we could do, and they put us in the right place. And we should have won the game, but stuff happens, and it was a great game.
Oh yeah,
it was a great game.
Again, outside looking in, like everything about that game, it had everything. It had everything you could want in an exciting game. But I mean, what all-star game goes to freaking overtime? Like, how does it's just, again, what you guys did that day, honestly, we've had the conversation here. We've talked with Leslie, who you got to know her from Gunner Sports and everything like that. You guys, this game that you guys put on is going to revolutionize the Bay Area Cali Classic. And what I mean by that is this game, it was so was so competitive, and it was obviously competitive. It was obvious that you guys, had a fire. Like it didn't feel like, oh, we're just trying to put on a show for any coaches, or it, like you said, it did feel like, all right, this feels like it's an actual rivalry game. And in a way, it is. Kids from the Valley, kids from the Bay. Let's see what side's better. That's very crazy way of looking at it, but it's just the fact what you guys did. And I told this to Leslie, this is going to be the game that from every view, because we're working on our own like highlight video and everything of what we got from that day. From the highlight videos on YouTube and everything else like that you guys have put, you guys should be proud of the fact that you guys have brought so much attention to this game, because now, not just for yourselves, that you're getting looks for yourselves going on to the next level. You just told the next coach or the coaches for the next years coming up, this is the game that we need to be at. This is, if we want all the best players from the Bay, all the best players from the Valley, they're all right here. We don't have to go anywhere else, but we're all right here. So even though it was a losing, you guys lost, whatever. In my opinion, both of your teams won. All of the players won, and you guys revolutionized the game that at one point was small is now going to be blowing up. So be proud of that. Obviously, the camaraderie between you guys, all the your teammates and everything else like that. Like it again, it was an amazing sight. So at this point right now, I mean, you say that San Jose State, Sacramento State, which is around our neck of the woods here. If you went and played Sacramento State, you'd be like, all right, cool. Now we got a kid that we can go by over here and see Sacramento State. Even at San Jose State, that would be nice if you go there. Again, if Coach Zoe is there, tell him we talked to you. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say that this conversation is going to get you a scholarship anywhere. That's not me to say anything. Because, again, what this is just kind of a platform to get you somewhat used to what you're going to get at the next level. You're going to get, media, you're going to get questions, you're going to get all that other kind of stuff. So it kind of prepares you in some sort of way. We're not going to sit here and tell you that anything on here is going to guarantee you anything, because you and I both know nothing's guaranteed. You got to bust your ass in order to get it. So now, your mindset, this is what I'm really interested in seeing. Going to the next level, whether it's JUCO, whether it's D3, D2, D1, wherever it is that you end up going. What's going to be your mindset? What is going to be the ultimate goal? I mean, obviously, every kid has, aspirations of going pro. You very well might. But percentages, we all know the percent. Less than 2% of college athletes make the professional level. So what we want to know, obviously, we know you want to go to. Everyone wants to go pro, but what is your mindset going into college that you feel, especially with coaches, that I guess you can say what kind of discipline, or what is it that you want to show these coaches that makes you different from anybody else who walks through their door?
Well, definitely think about that a lot, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of players everywhere, especially in the Bay Area, who have my abilities and even better, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like what I stand out is on, like, I know that I'm somebody that you can remember, like you remember. Like I leave a stamp. Like I try to leave a stamp, like personality wise, athleticism, you know what I'm saying, leadership, being a teammate. Like I know that wherever I go, I'm gonna leave a stamp. Like even if that wasn't my intention, if I just wanted to go JUCO just cause like I need to get the transfer out, I know that I'm still gonna be able to make a stamp on the team and make a stamp on the coaches and like make it better than it was before I got there. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to make sure that I'm remembered for a bunch of positive things that happen in football and school and like, you know what I'm saying, being a leader and stuff like that. So like my mentality is just wherever I go that I make a stamp and I make a memory for people and be like, oh, as Palmer, we can talk about it, we can explain about him, we can like, this is how he was, you know what I'm saying? He's leader, his example. That's where I really that's what I mainly want to do. You know what I'm saying? I go JUCO, play football, put my heart out. You know what I'm saying? That might be it, or transfer it. But like wherever I go, I just want to be able to be like, when you think of that team, one of the players is Ezra Palmer, and this is an example of what he did. This is an example of how he was off and on the field. That's my mentality.
I mean, again, that's a great mentality to have. No matter where you go, you bust your ass, you give 110%. That's anything coaches could want. So with that discipline that you have, the drive, the motivation, Ezra, the sky's the limit, man. Just you stay focused. Do what you got to do, and one of these days, maybe the next time we talk to you, we'll be talking to future draft pick. I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening. You know what I mean? But again, like I told you in Twitter, doors always open, man. Once you're on the show, it's family. It's Jaffo family all the way around. So doors open. You want to come in here, talk. We can talk ball. It completely unrelated stuff, like not even talking about college. You just want to talk about something else. You let us know. We'll try and get you on the show, and we'll have a good time, especially from here on out, man.
Yes,
do good. Stay disciplined, stay focused, stay hungry, and again, man, sky's the limit. Keep us updated on what you're doing, man, for sure. We want to be the one to kind of break the news on where you're going.
Yes,
that would be nice. Ladies and gentlemen of the Jaffo Army, number 90 on the Bay Area squad at the Bay Area Cali Classic. Hype, Ezra, give me your high school.
Monroe Catholic High School, Hayward, California.
Monroe Catholic High School in Hayward.
Sir.
Okay. Hayward. All right. Hayward's coming out with a few big time athletes now. All right, guys. All right.
Yeah, we coming. We showing off. Hayward's coming, man. Coming.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Jaffo Army, please thank and give your love to Ezra Palmer. Appreciate you, Ezra. We'll talk to you again soon, man.
Damn, I appreciate it. Much love.
Absolutely.
Have a good one, man.
Man, so we got two conversations today.
Yeah.
We got one with a coach that has stories for days. It's a never-ending story. Literally, we write a book forever. And we got a kid who's, I mean, honestly, like, I'm sure a lot of kids, have a good amount of discipline and stuff like that. But there's something, I don't know. I feel like I might be saying this about every kid that we talk to, but it reigns true because he does seem like he has that discipline, the drive, and everything else to be able to make it to the next level and everything like that. So kudos to him. I really do hope that he gets a scholarly somewhere, wherever it may be, get that education going, and hopefully make it on to the next level. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys already know both of those conversations and this show is brought to you by Raise Energy, the best energy drink on the entire planet. Clash of the Cans champions of 2021, soon to be back-to-back champions of 2022. Blue Shock just got re-released again. It's sold out. They restocked. They know people love it. Go get it right now. Limited time offers are going to be coming permanent, so stay on the lookout for that. You guys already know repsports.com, REPP sports.com. Use the promo code Alpha Rays to get 15% off of your order. Go get your energy drinks, go get your gear, demand more, join the Rays Rebellion. Appreciate Rays for being with us since day one of the show. Now, before we get out of here, it's a very important weekend in the NFL. It's championship weekend. Now, today, I was supposed to go have a meeting with the place that I was talking about to have the watch party. But my job decided to send me on 10 different stops on my second run. So I didn't get home until about 5:30, 5:45 when I started setting everything up before the show. So I didn't get the opportunity to go talk to him, but hopefully things go a little bit smoother tomorrow. But regardless of what time I get off tomorrow, I'm definitely going to go over there and have that conversation with them. So be on the lookout for that, everybody. On Sunday, we're going to be trying to get a watch party going. I don't want to give the name of the place just yet, just in case. But again, we're going to try and have that. So be sure on Sunday, show up, show your full support. Jaffa Army needs to show up in full force to be able to enjoy both games. AFC Championship between the Bengals and the Chiefs, and the NFC Championship between the St. Louis Rams, the LA Rams, and my San Francisco 49ers. Feels good to be the last one. Even if we may be going home after this weekend, wouldn't you love to have the sound effects right now?
I'll give you some sound effects. Fuck the Niners. It's the only effect you need.
Yep. There we go. But I mean, hey, so you listen to do you guys listen to ESPN radio out here? Or Matt, if you listen to the 1320?
Oh, listen to the radio.
Well,
I got my own playlist.
So during my route and everything, I'm listening to Sacramento's sports station, their ESPN on 1320 in AM. And again, for some reason, I keep hearing the word clutch being attached to Jimmy G's name. And I had to call in and I had to tell him, look, you can't be clutch, and I've said it before, you can't be clutch when all you're doing is making up for the mistakes that you made previously. And basically told them, it's like, those stats mean something. He's 5 or 6-1 when he has no touchdowns. That means he's not doing shit. That means the run game or the defense or whatever. And homie came up and said that, I don't want to give the name of the show because in my opinion, it's kind of a dumb take to have, but he basically said, I'm going to give a little bit of pushback on that. And then they were like, well, it is in those late games, you got to make so technically, if it's a late game scenario, it is clutch. No. See, you can't put your team in a shitty situation just to get them out of it to call yourself clutch. Okay. Most, if not all of the situations that the 49ers have been in this year didn't need to be that way. So he kept them in games. He kept a lot of teams in games. Some of the games that they had won, he came in clutch. We beat teams that were shit. Look at the list. Look at the schedule that we had. 9-7. We should be 7-9. But we own the Rams' ass, so that's where we got the other two from. But the teams that we beat weren't any good. Lions, Falcons, who gives a fuck? It's just the teams that we beat weren't any. We still lost the game to Seattle, and they were shit this year. So what does that say? Like, yeah, I mean, it just doesn't. It does not make any sense to me that he keeps getting. He's kind of he's kind of not. No, he's kind of inconsistent. He's kind of putting his team in shitty positions. He kind of sucks on a daily basis. This is why most of the people kind of want him out to begin with. We can't rely on. He was one throw in the Super Bowl away from being talked completely different. Well, although that may be true, the reality is he didn't make the fucking throw. And if I had to put any money down on this game, if you were to tell me that Jimmy G throws over 25 times and they win, I say you're full of shit. I'm betting on the Rams. Because if Jimmy has to throw more than 20 times, that's a clear sign you're not winning the game. Clear sign. Oh, what about the first time they played the Packers? Jimmy threw for over 350. Guess what's still on the board? The big fat fucking L. Okay. So it just doesn't. We need to take that tag off of him until he can actually prove that he's clutch. And he's not going to be in a 49er uniform next year anyway. So really doesn't matter, at this point. And teams around the league, and I've been hearing this, that there are teams that this is one of those smoke and mirrors type of thing. The team is actually good enough to the point where they're disguising the fact that their quarterback is ass. So if he goes to a bad team and they think he's going to be the one to revive him, they're in for a rude awakening. They're in for a very rude awakening. It's going to be Matt Flynn all over again. He's going to show up, a kid's going to take his job, and you're never going to see him again. Oh, but his winning percentage is this and that. His entire time with the 49ers, his defense has been top 5, and he's had weapons around him that have bailed him out. He's had a run game that has bailed him out of every shitty situation. That's fact. You can go back and look at the tape. It's a fucking plain fact. So I literally don't get where national media, even fucking local media, get off by saying that Jimmy G is clutch. It's not true. You guys are building a narrative that isn't there. And what you're doing is you're building all of this false hope because as soon as the 49ers lose, and it's even remotely Jimmy's fault, most of you motherfuckers are going to be wanting his head and wanting him out anyway. Don't try to put this window dressing like, oh, Jimmy G is going to be our guy. As soon as he loses, you're going to go right back to the same narrative that you had about him before. The only reason why you're talking any good about him right now is because the 49ers are in the position that they're in. That's the only reason. Outside of that, people would be shitting on Jimmy G. They still do passively aggressively shit talk Jimmy G. Out of all 4 quarterbacks that are inside the playoffs right now, Jimmy G's the worst one. Out of all the quarterbacks that were the entire playoffs in its entirety, Jimmy G is the worst one. Yet, it's like, well, yeah, that means the run game was insanely good, and the defense has been insanely good. That's it. Call it for what I don't understand the infatuation with quarterbacks. I understand it's a quarterback-driven league, but polish a turd, it's still a turd. So it just doesn't. I mean, again, man, I maybe right. Literally, I really do think that Jimmy is in the situation he's in, win percentage and all that stuff wise, because of decent coaching, a good defense, and a great run game. That's just what it came down to for Jimmy. He goes anywhere else, it's not going to happen that way. So, I mean, it is what it is. I've spoke my piece on Jimmy. That being said, I do think the 49ers are going to beat the Rams. All that shit just to say that. Well, that's the kind of fan I am. Objective, speak the truth, but I got to root for my team. If they pull what the Cowboys did, though, I might just pull a Mad Sticks and just root for another team for a whole year.
I was just reading something Shaq talking about. He want Coach Prime to coach Dallas. Coach Prime, and then have Sean Payton as offensive coordinator.
Y'all should be aiming for Bieniemy as your head coach, to be honest with you. I mean, any team that has the head coaching vacancy should be looking at Eric Bieniemy. And the fact that Kellen Moore and fucking Josh McCown are being considered over him, maybe it's because that. I'm not even going to say it's because they're still in the playoffs. You know, that's why they're not getting interviewed. No, D'Amico Ryans, the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, he's been interviewed, and they're still in the playoffs. So it doesn't make any sense to me at all that Bieniemy is not being considered for a head coaching job anywhere. Doesn't matter where he goes, he's going to turn that franchise around. And I mean, shit. You think Jacksonville could use Eric Bieniemy? You know, with Trevor Lawrence out there? I mean, their eyes are set dead on Byron Leftwich for that story of, former Jag player comes back and head coach of the team. They're straight going for that story, but that's a huge mistake. I mean, Kay, you can give a better insight on what you would think about Leftwich getting hired there, but I do think that Bieniemy is the best hire no matter where he goes.
I don't know about best. I would say Byron Leftwich. If Byron Leftwich went to Chicago, we'd be straight. Like, that'd be a good pick for Justin to learn from him. Bieniemy in Jacksonville is like a death sentence. It's almost like you setting them up to fail, especially if you don't got the necessary stuff to be able to, you know what I mean? Like, you don't give them the necessary freedom to actually build a team, you know what I mean? You got to be able to get free access. Like, Urban Meyer had a lot of access. It's like, whoever the next
look what he did with
you
the
can't
team.
pretty much say shit. Like, you got to just let whatever he do, especially if you're making great moves. Like, say if it is Bieniemy, you get here, you got to give him free reign at that point. Because ain't nothing you can say. You just had Urban Meyer's fucking.
I don't necessarily agree. I
coach.
don't necessarily think that you need to have your head coach also be your GM, basically.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's like. I mean,
when I hear full range,
the GM
that's
and
what
the head coach got to be on the same page type situation. Like, when the head
That's
coach, like, the GM got to understand that the head coach understand the players there, understand his assessments and stuff like that. Like, just listening to him and just believing that what his players and stuff like that he trying to, you know what I'm saying, trying to get is beneficial for the team. Listening to the team needs through the head coach.
I mean, so then where would be? So do you think Leftwich is kind of a done deal there in Jacksonville? You think that's who they're going to go with? Even though you said Chicago would be a good
No, I think
Chicago would be a good spot.
I think Leftwich is a setup if you go there. It's a setup spot. If you put him in Jacksonville, it's a setup.
Set up in what way?
I think Brian Leftwich is a good offensive coordinator. He's able to get
just that, right?
No. Because I haven't seen him as a head coach, so I only can assess him as an offensive coordinator. I have more to it. I was gonna say, I think he's a good offensive coordinator, just based off what I see and what I hear. I think he could be able to lead men, but I just think that Jacksonville is too much. It looked too good to be true type shit. You know what I'm saying? It falls in those lines. Like, it's too good of a storyline for him to take, because it's like, this shit just look entirely too good for this shit to work out. You know what I'm saying? Like, It could
I
work
mean,
out. No
it's an
problem. I'm just
enticing
showing the
job.
answers my
It's an
pessimistic
enticing
part, I
head
guess.
coaching job just based on the fact that Trevor Lawrence is there.
I guess. I mean, Trevor Lawrence and who else? You also got to say that Trevor is a good kid,
Well,
but it's
I mean,
like you got to really build a team.
what about Chark? Is Chark not a good receiver? I mean, they could probably use a better number one, but Chark is a solid number two at least.
You talking about Marvin Clark Jr.?
No, what's his first name? Chark, Chark, Chark the third, I think it is. Is it DJ Chark, something like that?
Oh, I mean, like I said, I don't know, bro. I'm just saying like this: Jacksonville, yet competitive. They didn't do much, and Trevor wasn't putting up numbers like that.
Yeah, DJ Chark Jr. That's who it is.
It was, yes, it could have been Urban, but at the same time, I personally just wouldn't put myself in that situation. But at the same time, again, it's a lot of things going with my answer. I am set that to the side. I'm still a Bucks fan. I still say fuck Jacksonville. So I personally, but I'm just saying, like, they can get a good coach and be solid. Like, I wasn't mad when they was what, number one in the AFC and they had that number one defense and stuff like that. Like, I wasn't mad at that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, well, I also knew they weren't going that far with Blake Bortles, but that's neither here nor there. Or that could be all of it.
Oh, come on. Blake Bortles could have been a Brad Johnson situation. You don't know.
Sure.
Top tier defense winning in the Super Bowl. That's really the only way he could have won it, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, but they didn't have that.
That's also
They
true.
didn't have that. So I would just say, like I said, the enemy, I feel like he's just trying to take over for Andy Reid. He don't want to dip, which is cool. That's a cool spot. You know what I mean? To go for Andy. Andy be like, all right, I'm cool, I'm out. You know what I mean? Just take over for Andy in Kansas City. He want to be with Kansas City and Pat Mahomes. He believes in Pat Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? Like people keep saying all this, like, Eric and all this. You think about, like, if Eric wanted to leave, he probably would have did. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, yeah, it's probably a travesty and stuff like that. Like, you just like, oh, man. You know what I'm saying?
How much, but that's one of the things that I guess we'll have to keep looking at. How much of it is him not wanting to leave and how much of it is teams just not hiring him. But I mean, that's a question for another time and a discussion all in itself. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome. Fuck, you've been here with us the whole time. Thank you for hanging out with us, enjoying the conversations with Coach Walker and Ezra Palmer. Definitely going to have both of them back on the show at some point to talk more ball or whatever it is. Again, Sunday, I'm trying to get something going for Sunday. But nonetheless, Championship Sunday, it's always a big thing. AFC, NFC. We know who Mad Six and Country K have picked to make the Super Bowl. We know who I've picked to make the Super Bowl. And it's going to be a hell of a day. Hopefully we can get everything going so that once again, the Jaffa Army can show up in full and show their support and their love like you guys have been doing since the very beginning. Like Coach Walker said, we're going to keep grinding and we're going to keep doing what we love to do, which is talk a whole bunch of shit and have guests on the show that we can call the Jaffo family. So we'll keep growing that and keep hanging out with us. Share it, like, subscribe. You guys know on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell to let you know every time we go live or when we post a video. Go to Twitter. You guys already know that outfit. It's right there, right above DJ Matchstick's head, the Jaffos AP. And don't pull it all the way down. And then the Instagram, you guys already know, Jaffo_sports. And be with us on Sunday for the AFC NFC Championship game watch party. And I believe I'm thinking that podcast itself, we can maybe do When's your next day off, Matt Six? Is it Monday?
Tuesday. I'm off again.
Or what time are you off Monday?
I think I'm off Monday.
Okay, if you're off Monday, we might do the podcast Monday.
Yeah.
So that we can just do the whole watch party and commentary and everything for the championship game. And then Monday we'll talk about everything and upcoming Super Bowl.
So if we do the Sunday watch together,
Mhm.
I'm coming draped in Buccaneers gear. Just letting it be known.
That's fine.
I'm not coming no blank. I'm letting it be known. I'm coming in
And
Buccaneers
Jaffo Army,
gear.
if you guys all show up in your favorite team. You guys don't have to show up in the gear of the teams that are just playing. Root for your favorite squad. Matt Six is gonna show up in a Jets jersey. It's just gonna be all good, all fun, and gonna be a hell of a weekend. I mean, shit, I doubt it's gonna top divisional weekend because that was fucking crazy. But we'll see what happens
See an
championship
authentic
weekend.
Sam Darnold jersey at Ross. Man,
Oh, Lord.
it's like it was like $5-10.
Yikes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Jaffo Army, appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you guys again on Sunday and Monday. For myself, JP, for DJ Matt Six, for Country K, we're the All Pro Jaffos. We'll see you guys next time for the watch party.